He wants to clear his name because that's all he cares about. He just cares about how he looks in 4K on TV. He doesn't care about Katisha and the fact that she left. Okay.
Why you always in the mood? I'm acting brand new. I ain't trying to tell you what to do, but try to play it cool.
Okay, hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I will be reviewing Love is Blind UK episode 8. So this episode begins with Katisha and Javen, which is where the last episode kind of stopped. We saw that Javen went out, Katisha was crying and sad, and Javen was like, yeah, I'm gonna go have drinks with the rest of the people because he doesn't care, as we know. So Javen says he's excited to meet Katisha's family. It seems like he's going to be meeting her family today. And Katisha asks how last night was, basically. And Javen says it was fun. And that, Katisha says that she expected him to, come back hungover before then meeting her parents that same day. And Javen is confused and making it sound like you don't trust me to not come back hungover, knowing that we're meeting your family the next day. Katisha clearly does not trust Javen. I mean, what else is new, right? But Javen sounds like he's kind of hurt by that. And, Javen is like, I'm excited to meet your family. Like, we'll see what happens. Yeah, so that's that. And then it goes over to Kieran and Megan. And we see that Kieran says he was surprised that Javen showed up on his own to the bars afterwards. Megan says she didn't like how Javen was acting, and that he was cozy with the pop squad, and it wasn't just Sophie that he was cozy with. He was also talking to Anu and Yolanda. And Anu tells Megan that Javen was giving her eyes all night. Megan says he took one of the girls to the photo booth. I believe it was Sophie. And that there were no photos being taken in that photo booth. She didn't see any photos come out of that photo booth, but that they were in there for a while. We see that Kieran is saying that, he's friends with Javen, but Megan is saying, okay, but I gotta support my girl, Katisha, and tell her what happened. And Kieran is understanding of that, which I appreciate, because he's like, well, I get that you're friends with Javen and you don't want to make your boy look bad, but Megan is like, I also got to support Katisha and tell her what I saw. It just doesn't feel right. So we then go over to Cal and Sarova, and Cal is nervous to meet Sarova's family. Understandable, based on all the text messages Sarova's mom has been sending. I would be nervous too. I mean, clearly she's not in complete support of this whole process. So also, I guess I want to just give my opinion on Cal and Sarova. What do you guys think of this couple? Because Cal, I do not really trust him. I feel like I really like Sarova. I can tell she has a good head on her shoulders. She seems like someone who's very ready for marriage. And she also seems like a very considerate, thoughtful, giving person. And I don't know if I can say those things about Cal. After we met Cal's family, and the way his brother described Cal and his previous behaviors in past relationships and just what Cal is like as a person, Cal sounds like he could marry himself if he could. That's the vibe I was getting. That is he able to really give into a relationship? Is he open? I feel like there's something off about Cal. Let me know what you guys think about Cal. I really like Sarova, but Cal is just, something's not sitting right with me when it comes to him. Okay, so then we go over to Billy and Ashley, and they meet Billy's mom and sister. They seem so sweet. That's literally what I wrote down. They seem really sweet. I got great vibes. They seem warm. They seem kind. So Ashley and Billy's mom talk, and she says that Ashley seems strong and confident, and that is what Billy needs in his life. And then we go over to another scene where Billy's mom is basically saying that she really likes Ashley. So I can tell that this went well. I think Billy's mom seems to be really excited about Ashley and excited about them even getting married and everything and moving forward. So that went well. We see Billy and Billy's sister talking in the kitchen. And Billy admits to his sister that he's scared, and that, Billy brings up cabin crew again, that she's cabin crew. So, personally, I don't understand why Billy keeps bringing up this cabin crew. Because he knew that Sorova was cabin crew in the pods. So if you knew that you didn't want to be with cabin crew, why did you choose to get engaged to Ashley? Please tell me, guys, if I'm crazy here. But this is actually not right to do to somebody. If you are so caught up in this girl's job that you're still bringing it up now, why did you choose to get engaged to her? I liked Billy, but he's getting on my nerves now, because if he says no at the altar due to Ashley being cabin crew, that is wrong. That would not be a very nice thing to do to Ashley at all, because you knew what it was from the jump, from the rip, from the get-go, from the beginning. You should not have chose her. You should not have gotten down on one knee. You should not have gotten engaged to her. You should not. You shouldn't have proposed. Let me know what you guys think about that. But it's actually getting on my nerves because he keeps bringing up this cabin crew. You should have thought about all this in the pods. And if you are not okay with it, you should not have moved forward with Ashley. That's what I think. So we see Javen, and he gets to meet Katisha's family. They also seem very, very sweet. They are all shocked to hear that she's engaged, but they seem to take to it very well. After a while, they kind of start joking around. And yeah, his family, her family seems very, very sweet. Her mom seems very sweet. So Katisha's mom makes this comment and basically says to Javen that the man that she's with treats her like a queen. Treats her very, very well, right? Puts her first and treats her well. And Katisha's mom says to Javen that is the one thing she would like Javen to do with Katisha. That if he treats her right, her mom is on board with everything going on. And I was like, okay, fair. I like that, right? So that's her only requirement, basically. So, it's sad because little does she know, Javen will not be able to treat Katisha like a queen. He's not capable of that, So it's nice in theory, but yeah, Katisha's mom is gonna be sad because Javen doesn't know what that entails. It's very sad because little does she know that Javen is just a little F-boy out here and doesn't know how to do anything. So basically we then go over to Cal and Sorova, and Cal gets to meet Sorova's mom and sister. And, the mom asked Cal, why Sorova? What was it about her that made you choose her, And Cal was so nervous. Oh man, the guy was trembling. He could barely get his words out. He was stumbling over his words. He was so nervous. And I don't blame him because Katisha's mom looks like Sorova's mom looks like she doesn't play games. And the sister. They were both kind of sitting there like, okay, what does this guy got to say? They kind of came in with this energy. I would have been nervous too, but, So Cal says something about, her accent. He likes the posh accent that Sorova has. And then he says that they're similar when it comes to fitness as well, which was kind of better because I was like, okay, don't just talk about this girl's accent and not say anything else about why you chose her, because it looks like Sorova's mom is not playing no games. So then he kind of starts to talk about how they have fitness in common, lifestyle in common. His mom and sister don't say anything. They're just sitting there they're just assessing and taking it in. And I can tell that the less they're saying, the more Cal is about to shit his pants. He's so nervous. Her mom takes a sip of water and she's just sitting there staring at him, glaring at him. And I'm pretty sure the sister says something, Sorova's sister says something about being surreal. And that's basically all we see from that scene. Lord have mercy. Somebody help Cal because he's freaking out, okay? So then we go back to Katisha, and Katisha is speaking to her mom about Javen. And she basically says to her mom that the communication is not great and that they still have some things that they need to work through. And Katisha's mom, basically says communication is huge. It's very important. And that she wanted her daughter to go into this experiment with her eyes open. And I think Katisha's mom is saying this because she's very aware of what Katisha's been through in past relationships. So it's very obvious that her mom didn't want her to go into this experiment not seeing like red flags, right? That's why she says, I wanted you to keep your eyes open. It's very sad because little does she know that Katisha went into this experience deaf, dumb, and blind. And basically made the same mistakes in choosing a man that she's made in her past relationships. The same red flags that those men exhibited in her past relationships, that's Javen. And that's the thing, like, it's so sad because her mom was like thinking, okay, Katisha probably went into this seeing things for, like, no, she's making the same mistake again, you know? So it is unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. So we then go back to Cal and Sarova, and Sarova says she was overwhelmed by the text from her mom. And I thought this was interesting because Sarova says that in the past, she dated with her head and not her heart. And I think that Sarova has been under a lot of pressure from being not only the eldest child, but I can tell that, like, she comes from a family where it seems like there is this sense of, like, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. And you know, she seems like someone who's dated from her rational brain and she's not really following how she feels. And I think that when it comes to dating, you have to kind of do both. I'm not saying go follow your, you know, your feelings and just forget being rational, right? And using your head. But I don't think it's good to just do one and then turn off the other. I think that dating has to be a balance of both. I think that you have to bring in some rationality, but you do also want to follow how you feel as well, right? So I think that it's really good that Sarova voiced this out because I think as she's saying it, she's also reflecting on how she's dated in the past, and I can tell she wants to change that, right? She's like, I don't want to just sit here and have a guy and he's ticking everything off, but there's no feelings there. So it was really good for Sarova to say that out loud. So after a while, Sarova's mom softened up. You know, she started, you know, saying, okay, well, you know, I see that you guys have a good connection and it's undeniable and things like that. And in the end, Sarova's mom gives her blessing to the union for Cal and Sarova. And I was very surprised, but also very happy to see that. She softens up a lot and she's like, if this is what you want, I will support you. So it's good. So we then go over to Jed and Barda. And Barda sees Jed's apartment, and it is quite nice, in my opinion, for a guy, okay? Based on some people's apartments we've seen on this show in the past, Jed is doing okay, right? And, you know, Barda says that it just needs a woman's touch and that there's some things she'll add here and there, so that goes well. So Barda gets to meet Jed's parents for the first time, and they also seem very, very sweet. Jed's mom has some, you know, concerns about the timeline, and you know, she's just worried that they haven't had an argument yet. She brings that up, and she just explains that, like, marriage is difficult. You know, there's a lot of hurdles to overcome, and she says that marriage is not the end, it's the beginning of a journey that is hard, you know. So she's just trying to let them know that, like, it's not an easy thing, you know. And she says that, you know, she doesn't want them to get caught up in the excitement of being in this experience and not understand that there is a lot of work to be done. And she just wants to make sure that what they feel is really valid and that they are a good union and they can compromise and work together. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think Jed's mom at one point says that she's kind of more pessimistic when it comes to these things. And I think that was the wrong word to use because I think that if anything, she's a realist. She's just being real, right? It's not necessarily pessimism. It's just like she's speaking from experience because she's married, right? And she's probably been married, I'm assuming, for some time. So she's gone through certain things. She's seen certain things. She's seen what it's like. So she's just trying to let them know, like, it's not all rainbows and sunshines. You guys are in a honeymoon phase. There are certain things you're going to have to work through. Hopefully you're both able to work through that. Jed's dad is more supportive, and, you know, he doesn't really say too much, but he's just kind of like, if this is what you want, then okay, you know. So we then go back to Megan and Katisha, and they have a chat, okay? And we all know what this chat is about. Clearly about Javen's behavior when he was out. Megan says that Javen, when he was out, went straight to Sophie, and they went into a photo booth, but took no photos. Then Javen talked to Yolanda. He talked to Anu. And Javen says, Javen said to Megan that Yolanda makes him happy. Anu makes him happy. Katisha makes him happy. I don't know what Javen meant by that. I don't understand. It's a very strange statement, because it's like, what are you trying to say? It's giving F-boy. It's giving, I'm trying to chase different girls. Like, what? Okay. So obviously what Megan is saying is not shocking, right? As viewers, we're not shocked. Okay. We know Javen for the man that he is. He's been trying to put up an act. His act is slowly slipping. There's cracks in his act. So Katisha then says that Javen's behavior is similar to what she dealt with in her past. Oh, and I just sighed when she said this, because I thought, wow, we're 7 episodes in. I'm sorry. We're 8 episodes in. This is episode 8, guys. And Katisha is now finally starting to see. We thank God, okay? I mean, it took a while. It took way too long, but we thank finally, she's starting to see the light, okay? Woo! It took some time. So Megan says to Katisha that she's amazing. So she just tries to give her words of encouragement, and that Javen doesn't deserve Katisha. And I agree with Megan, but the problem with Katisha, right, is, does Katisha feel that she's amazing? Does Katisha feel that she deserves better than Javen, right? Because Katisha's very insecure. I'll tell you right now, she's beautiful, right? She's stunning. Her face card does not decline. It's never declined. But does she know she's amazing, right? This is the issue, because I think that Katisha is insecure. And I think that is the basis for a lot of the decisions she's made in her dating life. I think that she needs to go seek therapy. I think she needs to work on herself, because something's not right there, and everybody can tell you you're amazing, right? But do you feel that you're amazing? Because that is what matters the most. So that's all I'm going to say about that. In the next scene, we see that Katisha is now packing up her clothes frantically. I guess she's decided that she's over this. And she tells Javen that she's going home. And Katisha asks why Javen was in the photo booth with Sophie. Javen says they were arguing in there for some time. And, Javen basically starts denying, like the true F-boy that he is. Deny. He says that Megan is lying. And that he was with the boys most of the night. And that he wasn't even hanging around the girls as much as Megan is making it out to seem. So Javen is staying true to who we all knew that he was. So he's not new to this. Javen is true to this F-boy behavior. Whatever. We knew that this would be his reaction. It is what it is. So it then goes over back to Cal and Sarova. And Sarova says she trusts Cal. They're having dinner and their relationship. And, it's just like, I feel like Sarova has nothing really holding her back in this relationship. Like, she's almost ready to really move forward with Cal and start their life together. And it seems like she's going to say yes at the altar, right? That's the vibe I've been getting. But once again, I really like Sarova, but I don't trust Cal. And she seems to have so much faith in him and their relationship. And I don't even have that at this point. I don't really know where all her faith in Cal is coming from. Maybe there's things in their relationship that they're not showing on screen, but I am just more apprehensive about Cal. I feel like Sarova is like, all her chips are in his basket, all her cards are on his table, and I'm not there yet. Once again, hearing how Cal's brother explained what Cal was like, I'm a little suspicious of Cal. So we'll see. I really like Sarova, but I do not know about Cal at this point. I do like Cal. I just hope that his intentions are true. And I hope that he doesn't blindside Sarova at the end, because neither of these people, especially Cal, has really voiced concerns when it came to Sarova. Like, we haven't heard him say, hey, I'm not sure about this, or I'm having doubts, or I'm apprehensive. So I just hope that when it comes down to wedding day, he's not walking down the aisle saying, he's not wanting to move forward, but then throughout this experience, we've never heard him say why, right? So that's the only thing about Cal that I'm not sure about. And Cal says that Sarova brings out the best in him, and I think that Sarova is great, and I agree that I think she can really add to his life. The problem is he going to add to her life, right? Because when you're in a relationship, you both need to be fueling each other. It's not one-sided, right? So I hope that he can also bring out some good things in her. That's my issue with it. Then it goes to Then it goes back to Katisha, and we see that she's writing a note. And she says that she has no desire to see Javen again. Finally. Okay, because I know I'm sick of this couple, and I know as viewers, you guys are sick of them too. Okay, finally this is coming to an end. Interesting how things have just changed in the blink of an eye. So I guess Katisha is also tired of ignoring the red flags, because I know I'm tired. I know you guys as viewers are tired. We're all tired. So she says she's been in a relationship like this before, and that there was a nibbling in the back of her mind that something was wrong and off with this, but that she didn't listen to it. She just didn't listen. And women, like, as women, we need to really trust our gut, because that nibbling in the back of her mind was most likely her gut telling her that, hey, ooh, this isn't right. This doesn't feel right. Ooh, this, that. But she ignored it. I don't know why. You tell me. She decided to ignore these feelings. So it's interesting. So yeah, it seems like that's over. Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, I was really tired of Katisha and Javen, so I'm like, thank God this is over. It's about time. I'm surprised that we're 8 episodes in, and it's taken this long for things to crumble. So we see Javen opening the note. Katisha's gone, right? She's taken her stuff. She's leaving. She's left. And Javen sees the note on the table. He opens it. He smiles to himself and kind of nods. And you see him just tearing up the note. Okay? And, honestly, Javen is probably relieved. He's probably like, I was tired of putting up this act. And his act was slipping, right? So he, I'm sure he's like, whatever, move on. I mean, the fact that he tore it up, though, I was like, that was unnecessary. But I think Javen is also one of those people that doesn't take rejection well. That's the feeling that I get, because he has this, F-boy mentality of, oh, I gotta win the girl. So I don't think he likes that, Katisha was the one to say, you know what, I don't want to move forward with this anymore. His ego couldn't take that. So, Javen can now go back to being the F-boy that he truly is. He probably has Sophie on speed dial, so I'm sure they'll be linking up at some point. Anyway, so Javen says that he's pissed, and that Katisha's believing Megan over him, and that he doesn't like that. So guys, he's not sad that Katisha left. He's sad that Katisha believes Megan over him. That's basically what he said. But he doesn't care that he just lost his fiance. He's mad that Katisha does not believe him, and that she's believing Megan over him. Okay. All right, so Javen calls Patrick, okay, another idiot. So 2 idiots are talking, and he wants to tell Patrick what happened. Obviously, we already know how this conversation went, with Javen talking to the spleen master. And, Javen is like, well, this is what was said about me. It's not true. And, Patrick is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they said that. You were hanging out with the guys all night, blah, 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 blah. And that's that. So we then go over to Billy and Ashley, and Billy tells Ashley he feels 50-50 and starts talking about their jobs not aligning again. Guys, I am tired. Billy, what is going on? You've made it this far, and you're still talking about these jobs, about her being cabin crew and him being... How? Because this is stuff that I think could have been talked about and discussed in the pods. Why are you bringing this up now again? Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't understand this. I don't understand this at all. I appreciate Billy for being honest about how he feels. At least he's actually voicing his concerns so that Ashley doesn't feel blindsided by the time they get to the altar. So that's a good thing. But these concerns should have been voiced in the pods. It's just weird. Like, I don't get what's going on here, you know, and Ashley is clearly like sad, heartbroken. At some point, she looks like she's like wants to start crying, and she's like, it sounds like Ashley is ready to be married. She's ready to walk down that aisle and say yes to Billy. So for her to hear this now, she's also kind of like, what? And rightfully so. Like, what is going on? You know? Yeah, frustrating. So we'll see what happens with that. So we see that Javen decides to meet with Megan and Kieran to clear his name. He wants to clear his name because that's all he cares about. He just cares about how he looks in 4K on TV. He doesn't care about Katisha and the fact that she left. Okay? So Javen asked Megan that he spent all night with Sophie. So he's asking her, like, I spent all night with Sophie, right? And Yolanda and Anu. And asked Megan if she saw him talking to Patrick or Damola. So basically, Javen and Megan get into this, like, you know, verbal altercation in a way. And, you know, it's at this point, it's semantics. You know, Javen is saying one thing, Megan is saying something else. And Kieran doesn't say anything for a while. He's just sitting there while Javen and Megan are going back and forth. Kieran then says, Javen went into the photo booth. So Kieran's speaking up now, and he's saying that Javen went into the photo booth with Sophie. Okay? And closed the curtain. There was a curtain that was closed. And basically Kieran is backing up Megan and saying that Kieran is saying, I saw it too, and that you closed the curtain when you went in there. Javen denies that there was a curtain, okay? And I'm very proud of Kieran for saying something and kind of backing Megan up. I think that it's good that he did that, even knowing that, like, him and Javen are friends. I think that it was huge that he said that, you know, because he's like, I gotta back up my fiance. I mean, Javen is clearly just trying to lie in 4K, and Kieran is like, come on, you know? So Megan then says that Javen told them that Sophie is someone he would like to F, and then he would leave her. Megan, it doesn't look like Megan told Katisha that in the scene that we saw. Maybe there's a reason for that, or maybe she did tell her off screen. I don't know, but wow, guys. Like, come on. Come on. Why? I'm not surprised, though. As viewers, we're not surprised, right? But I didn't know that because Megan didn't tell Katisha that. So that was new. Javen obviously continues to deny, as he should, in true F-boy fashion, knowing that the cameras are rolling in 4K. He wants to clear his name. He's not doing a good job, digging himself a deeper hole. And after a while, Megan gets so frustrated that she just walks away, okay? And you see that she's kind of crying because she's just frustrated by the conversation. They're not getting anywhere. It's semantics at this point. They're just not agreeing. Javen then says to Kieran that he didn't mean to make Megan cry and that wasn't his intention. Kieran doesn't really say much back, and he just goes over to console Megan. Okay, so Javen now says to the cameras that he still feels strongly about Katisha. Still lying. Continuing to lie in 4K. So that's what he says. Even though he's now spent, the last couple of scenes trying to clear his name. Why hasn't he called Katisha? Why hasn't he tried to get her back? Okay. So we all know why. Okay. So then we see previews come up for the next coming episodes, and clearly they're going to be having, like, the weddings. I wanted to tell you guys my predictions, and I want to know your predictions. Based off of watching the show this far, I think that Kieran and Megan will say yes. Okay, I think they're strong. I like them, and I think they'll say yes. I think that Jed and Barda will say yes. I think that Billy and Ashley will be a no. Not because of Ashley, but because of Billy, okay? And him not being able to get over this cabin crew. I get the feeling that he will say no, okay? I think Cal and Sarova will also be a no. Not because of Sarova, but because of Cal, okay? Because I just don't think he's in it as much as Sorova is. That's my opinion. I want to know what you guys think, okay? Please comment down below what you guys think. Let me know your predictions on who you think will actually say yes at the end and who will not get married. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Let me know what you think of even some of the people in the show. Once again, I'm so glad that Katisha and Javen are done because I am tired of seeing them on my screen. So thank God for that. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I have new videos coming out every week, and talk to you guys later. Bye.